This time of year, a good hoodie is absolutely essential. But these days, it's tough to find one that will last through the season. That's why the American Giant Classic Full Zip Hoodie is made to last a lifetime, so you can count on it to bring you comfort and warmth year after year. Slate Magazine called it the greatest hoodie ever made, and from cotton to zipper, it's made right here in the USA. It's crafted with timeless style, heavyweight fleece, a double-lined hood, and reinforced elbow patches, which means this hoodie can withstand any outing or adventure. It'll be your new favorite hoodie, and you can depend on it for years to come. Plus, buying from American Giant means supporting local communities of farmers, manufacturers, and more. This season, snag the hoodie that will bring you comfort for life, the American Giant Classic Full Zip, and save 20% off your first order at american-giant.com when you use code CLASSIC24 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at american-giant.com, code CLASSIC24.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
All right, welcome to episode 195 of Hobby Quick Hits. Today's episode is about big transactions, buying and selling what you would consider a large transaction. And again, the definition of a large transaction might be different to each of us, right? What might be big to me may not be big to you. What might be bigger to you might not be bigger to me, and vice versa. And so if you ask me, self-inflecting, to me, a big transaction's 4 figures, a sale that's 4 figures or more. And that's, you got to keep in mind, I've been doing card shows as a dealer since the age of 15. So that's 37 years. And, so that's $1,000 transaction. And they don't happen all the time. But I've bought cards for that. I've sold cards for that, right? But it actually, even when I first started, it took many, many years before I sold one card on that level, or even bought one card at that level. But what I wanted to go over in this episode, folks, is just some tips and tricks, not really tricks, tips and advice to how to consummate those kind of deals on both sides, right? As a seller and as a buyer, both to protect you on either way, right? You hate to hear stories of someone getting taken advantage of or just getting taken, point blank taken. So that's what this show is designed to do, just kind of shed some light on how large transactions sometimes go down in different forms of payment and tips and stuff, so that your hobby experience hopefully doesn't get ruined by a bad transaction.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the Hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi. This is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
Let's check out this week's Hobby Wax releases. Take it away, Owen.
Hey guys, it's Owen for the Sports Car Shop. Let's go over the weekly releases. On the 31st, we have Panini National Treasures Basketball. Going to the 2nd, we have Topps Chrome MLS Soccer Sapphire. And then the 3rd, we have Panini Contenders Optic Basketball. Panini Prism Football No Huddle. Topps Luminaries Baseball. Upper Deck Black Diamond Hockey. Panini Prism Baseball Hobby Blaster. Going to the 6th, we have Bowman's Best University Football. Bowman's Best University Football Delight. And in the 8th, we have Panini Prism Collegiate Draft Picks Basketball. Topps Archives Baseball. Topps Archives Baseball Blasters. Topps Archive Baseball Collector. Topps Star Wars High Tech. And the 9th, we have Topps Chrome Formula One Racing Sapphire. Topps Midnight Basketball. And then to the 10th, we have Panini Donruss Football Hobby and Wild Card 7 Studs Metal High Stakes Edition Football. That's it, guys. See you.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
And find out. All right, our first story, the Freddie Freeman Grand Slam ball from World Series Game 1, won on that blast by the Dodgers, 6-3 in extra innings. Went for $1.56 million. Congratulations to the Rudman family. They are the family that attended the game, that procured the ball as it went into the stands. 4 home runs. It was sold through SCP auctions. No idea what the family plans to do with the funds, but talk about a ROI on Game 1 tickets at the World Series. It is the 3rd highest ball as far as sales go, so it's now ranks 3rd all time for sold balls. Barry Bonds, whether you think he's in the should be in the Hall of Fame or not, he's going to be in some Topps products, signing autographs for the first time in 8 years since 2017. He'll be in such products as Diamond Icons, the 2025 flagship, and other products. He will appear in certain products in the Pirates uniform, and in other products as a Giants player. Be remiss if we didn't talk about a passing of a legend, and ironically, maybe who was the greatest living ball player alive until his passing, and that's Rickey Henderson at the age of 65. Way too young. No official reports, but indications are he died from the complications due to pneumonia. So let's talk some money here. Beckett, which falls under the trifecta with Southern Hobby and Dragon Shield, under a collectivist holdings, is getting a $250 million surplus injections from King Street Capital Management to move their companies forward starting in the year 2025. And, Beckett's got a long way to go. If you look at the gem rate reports, you see they are falling behind and losing their foothold as a viable grading company. I don't know what the answer is at this point. I've given my thoughts in the past, but we'll see if this influx of cash can be one of the problem solvers. Personally, I don't think so, but, I don't know. Jackson Churrio's Major League debut patch card, 1 of 1, which was recently pulled, has been sold on Fanatics Collect for $105,000. That right now, at the present time, that is the highest amount paid for a Major League debut patch. But again, that Skeens has not been pulled, or if it has, no one is telling anybody about it. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now, Cheerio has the top spot in that category. Speaking of top spots, what has been described as the finest 1952 Topps signed Mickey Mantle card has a new home. It was sold on Golden Auctions. The card itself was PSA 3, but the auto was graded a 10. Nice, clean and crisp, signed in pen, right in a nice spot on the card. 23 bids, with the final bid totaling $793,000 to the winning bid. So there's your news for the last couple weeks.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, today we are going to talk about buying or selling a big card, an expensive card, or cards. It could be multiple cards, right? And so what is expensive, right? I guess for me, I would say definitely 4 figures for sure, right? But 3 figures, right? If it's $900, that's a lot of money for a lot of people, myself included. So I guess the definition of big card might be different for different folks. So I'm going to use kind of the 4-figure card, or obviously higher, and some tips how to complete a transaction. You get in that sort of space with that kind of with those kind of dollars, it can be scary, right? If you're selling the card and the person pay for it and kind of rescind the money, and then the card's already sent, or again, reverse the transaction. Or if you're buying one, right? How do I trust this person? I don't know them, especially if it's an online transaction. Obviously, in person is a little bit different than not in person, but even in person can be a risky proposition. So I'm going to kind of talk about in person, not in person, some tips, things to be wary of. I'll be honest with you, I've sold plenty of 4-figure cards in my 40 years, and 4-figure deals. Not just one card all the time, but that too. And some things I've learned along the way. I've been knock on glass here. My desk is made of glass. I've been pretty fortunate. I really, any kind of losses have been minimal. And maybe there's a little luck involved there, to be honest with you. But I think it also comes from experience. It's not all luck. So just some things I've learned all along the way when I've been on both sides of this transaction, right? I've purchased cards for 4 figures. I've sold cards for 4 figures. And, things I've just learned how to negotiate that terrain, right? So let's talk about, you sold something or you've bought something of significant value, right? Make sure that package is getting insured, right? That you're putting enough insurance on it. I really can't stress this enough. If this is something you do a lot of shipping or a lot of receiving, you really need to look into specifically in collectibles insurance, or insurances that specifically, cover, sports cards and memorabilia. I have that. As doing bulk subbing for SGC, I have to have that. I've got potentially $50,000 to $100,000 in other people's cards that I'm shipping to Florida, and I'm responsible for that. And so I have to have that insurance coverage there. And we've all heard the stories, right? Something happens with, some delivery, whether it be FedEx or UPS or.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now it's our lowest price of the season on our top-selling i8 smart bed. Your best savings plus special financing. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
United States Postal Service, and they try to fight the claim or refute what was in there or kind of devalue and not want to pay fully what something's worth. And you know, I've never had to use my collectibles insurance for a claim, but that's a whole another entity that really knows sports cards and memorabilia, and they'd be less likely, as long as you can prove what you sent, they'd be less likely to refute that claim. So insurance is key. You know, you hear horror stories where someone doesn't insure something or underinsures it, and then, you know, as a seller, you are responsible for that getting to its destination. And so if it doesn't make it there, that's going to be on you to reimburse the buyer who didn't get what they paid for. And likewise, you know, in reverse, you know, if you're the buyer, you're going to want to make sure you get your item and be covered if you don't, and that sort of thing. So do your research, right? When you're buying a big card, obviously we want to get big card or cards. We want to get the best price, right? We want the best deal we can. So do your research, find out, you know, we've heard, you know, we know comps, right? Kind of get into that mode and figure out what do these generally go for. Be careful. If the price sounds too good to be true, tread lightly there, right? And when I say do your research, if this is a big transaction, ask for vouchers, you know, ask for, hey, you know, has anyone dealt with this person? Or ask them for references. Hey, you know, who can vouch for you so I can talk to them? And I know it's an extra leg of work, but if you're dealing with an expensive transaction, you know, do your due diligence, right? To the cards themselves, right? Especially if you're buying a raw card, which is such a risky proposition now. You know, that's why I buy a lot of my stuff already graded or in person, where I can look at the card, right? A lot of fakes, a lot of trimmed cards, a lot of altered cards. You know, try to verify authenticity as much as you can. Obviously, grading, you know, 98% kind of does that if you're buying a card that's already graded. But here's my other word of advice there. If you're buying a card, you know, we've seen fake slabs and fake graded cards or fake flips, or, you know, so be careful there. It's not foolproof. It does help, obviously, tremendously, but again, you know, verify authenticity. Place a phone call. Another one on my list, right? A lot of our transactions are via email or private messages or direct messages where you're not actually talking to the person, especially if it's an online transaction. Obviously, if it's an in-person transaction at a show or a card store, that's different. But an online don't be shy to, like, and I've done this, ask for the person's, you know, personal number and then call them and talk to them. And I know it sounds weird, but you can get a real sense of a person by hearing them speak. You know, do they sound sort of shady? Do they know what they're talking about? And I can tell you, there's been a couple deals. I don't want to say a few. There's been a couple deals just based on a phone conversation where I didn't complete the transaction. Something in that conversation led me to back off and say, you know what, I think I'm gonna pass at this time. Whether that's as a buyer, you know, mostly as a buyer. Just something, you know, perked my spidey senses, if you will, and I just didn't feel comfortable with the amount of dollars in this transaction after actually talking to that person on the phone. And it only took 2 or 3 minutes of a phone conversation. So it's not a time-consuming thing. And if a person doesn't want to give you, I've never had this happen, but I've heard about it. If a person doesn't want to give you a number where you can actually have a verbal conversation with them, that's sort of a red flag to me. And definitely be careful there. So don't be shy to like talk to someone over the phone. It really can illuminate the person's personality, or maybe what they're about, or their knowledge, or if they're up to no good. And I'm not saying on the 2 times where I kind of backed out of that deal after a verbal conversation that they were both bad and I was going to get scammed, but it didn't leave, I wasn't comfortable, didn't leave a good taste in my mouth, and I walked away, I backed off. And maybe they were, maybe they weren't, I just wasn't going to take that chance. So, place a phone call. I'll say this, nothing beats an in-person transaction versus an online one, right? You hold a card or cards in your hand, you see them. If you know what you're looking for, and nothing, we all know, right? Whether it be an eBay auction or any kind of selling platform, almost anyone can put a picture of a card online and you may get something else. Maybe you can even get the same card, but in worse condition than the picture is illustrated. Unless it's a ComC where they actually have possession of cards and take the pictures, or an auction house that does that. I can go on eBay and put a card I have on there, and then I might have multiples, and one's in worse shape, sell the better one that I put pictures on, right? The old switcherooski. So be careful of that. Now, again, an in-person transaction is just so much better because you have the merchandise in hand, right in front of you. You have the person you're buying from or selling to right in front of you, and you don't have to worry about just reading stuff via text, and you can pick up on body language and all that stuff if you've done a lot of these transactions. Also, last thing I want to say, wire transfers. When you get into these bigger money deals, I've sent money via a wire, and I've received payment via a wire. What is that? For those that may not know, some of you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's money that's deposited directly into your bank account. It can't be reversed like a PayPal transaction or credit card transaction. You can pay via credit card and then dispute the payment. Call your credit card company up and say, hey, I either didn't authorize this or I didn't get what I was paid for. I want this transaction reversed. In many cases, that can be done, and it happens. A wire transfer is different. It goes right into your or the other person's, depending if you're a buyer or seller, bank account, and it's not reversible. The only thing I'll say with a wire transfer is you better be very confident in the transaction because, again, it's a one-way. Once you send payment and receive payment, that's the end of the transaction. Can you sue? Can there be a suit? Sure, but it's not like some of these other forms of payment where you can have it reversed. It's non-reversible, at least unless you sue somebody or file criminal charges and that sort of thing. So how do you do a wire transfer? If you call your bank, if you're receiving one, you'll get your wire information. And it doesn't change if your account doesn't change. So once you have that wire info, you always have it. Unless, again, you change accounts. And you can give it to somebody. They go to their bank, tell them how much they want to send to your bank, and it's usually instantaneous. At worst, it takes 1 to 2 business days. So it's also good for timely transactions. Like, I need this card shipped out right away. Or I need to receive this card ASAP. And again, with a wire transaction, you got to be sure, because again, it's really irreversible. So, like I said, I've received them for cards I've sold. I've used it for cards I bought. I've even used it. There's a misconception that a wire is only in an online deal, and that's actually not true. I've used a wire transaction in deals where I'm in front of the person. I'm buying something, and I don't have the cash, in my pocket, and I'll wire it and make the deal that way. In reverse, right? I've received wires from someone who's bought something from me in person, but again, maybe they didn't have a PayPal account, or the amount of the transaction, they just didn't want to do it that way, and I wasn't comfortable maybe even doing it that way, and they paid via wire. And it can be done online too. Like, it's easier to go into your bank and do it, and I think I've always done it that way, but you can call your bank and do it over the phone. But you got to jump through more hoops. They're going to ask you more questions to verify who you are. When you go to the bank, they ask for your driver's license, your account number, and it's a lot less questions and a lot more streamlined. If you're trying to do it over the phone, it's going to be a longer process. And we all know calling up any kind of entity, right? Any kind of business, banks included, we're on hold, we get disconnected, that sort of thing. So, and only certain people in the bank are familiar with how to do the wire. So, you might call up and you get transferred 2 or 3 times, where if you go into the bank, they have a designated person or persons who know exactly what to do. So, wire transfer is probably the safest way to ensure payment, or when you're paying or receiving payment. So I hope you got some insight from me sharing about purchasing a big purchase in the hobby. Be careful, right? 2 words. It's just simple. Just be careful. Do your research, and hopefully, because a bad experience with an expensive transaction can really ruin your hobby day, and maybe ruin your hobby for longer than a day. And I don't want to see that happen to anybody. So, again, I don't want to claim to be an expert, but if you ever have any questions, as I always say, my door is always open. Good luck out there.
All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/SportsCardNationPodcast/. Twitter, we are at SportsCardNati1, so it's SportsCard NATI1. Instagram, at SportsCardNationPodcast, or you can email the show, hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Need parts now? O'ReillyAuto.com offers in-store pickup, same-day home delivery, or next-day home shipping. Get more parts your way at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly.